What's up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. Hope you guys are ready to go, or maybe not ready to go. It is the end of the month. If you're having a good month, you don't have to force it. If you're having a rough month, you don't have to force it. You don't have to make your money back all in one day. You don't have to come in the last day swinging for the fence. You can just play it out, manage those books a little bit. But we got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Amy. Good morning to Andy, Bill, Chad. Cheryl's in the house. Good morning to you. We got Martina. Good morning. Renee. Good morning. Rick, Rob, Shane, Tim. Good morning to all you guys, all my people out in YouTube land. We got Daniel. Good morning. M Sky. Good morning. La La Lu. Good morning to you. All my lurkers in the background of YouTube. They're just not gonna say nothing the whole day. It's okay. Just hit that like and subscribe button. Be jolly. Good morning to you as well. So I got some well, we had lots of news, I guess, decent news, all pre-market. So we had PCE that was on the calendar, essentially came in line, which is not usually fireworks for the market in either direction. We saw a pretty muted reaction from that, so nothing too crazy. Longer term, economically, in line is kind of where you want to be. That means that the policy set in place is kind of working in terms of getting the rates to where we need and all that fun stuff and keeping inflation low, which is fine. Nothing for the stock market though, so unfortunately a little boring there. Trump though tweets or truths before even PCE comes out. China bad. She not acting right. No. So yeah, apparently China's breaking some of the trade agreements and there's not usually just one tweet, one truth. There's usually some follow-ups and things like that. We'll see what happens. But otherwise, we're just chopping. Here's my wild theory, because yesterday, again, if you look back at the pre-market data, right? Well, pre-market where we were sitting after the court came in and said there's you can't do tariffs. That was the original thing, kind of banned the tariffs or said that's not even what you're allowed to do. Since that point, which we got pretty high, we got to like 5.99. We faded all of that. We were looking maybe get some kind of a balance somewhere around the 50, somewhere around the 618. You gave up all of that. By the way, 590, just about 595 for sake's purpose. It should have been a decent support where you also get a balance. That was a good resistance. We gave that up. 592, good support. Gave all that up. Closing, we didn't close the day lower. We closed pretty much right at the point where we closed on the prior day. We did make one new lower low. So if you're sitting there going, "Hey, I'm extremely bullish in this market," that's not a great sign. Where are the bulls? Where would they take the day off? They locked in all the gains up here and then just went to the beach? Maybe. But that's not the most bullish thing to see in the world today. Just even looking at the smaller time frames, 5 minute, you're not opening too great. Here's a wild theory though. Let's look at the daily chart. And I don't know. We'll see. It is again. Maybe we just get some chop. We get a whole bunch of nothing today. Let some of the options, puts, calls expire as worthless as possible, and then move on to next week, and we'll see where we go from there. But if you guys remember this day, the day before we had this kind of big run, big sell, Bulls did step in. They were we already ran, so we had. Let's just go through the kind of what's happening in the market. Big gap up here. That looks good. A lot of money managers missed that gap up. Now they're kind of chasing or they're waiting for some pullbacks, and we just kept running. I think a lot of the institutions, I think the retailers are just winning the market, to be honest. But institutions are lagging. They need to put some more money on the table. We get that pullback. All we did was get into that 20 EMA. You got a slight lower than that gap up. Now you have institutions coming in. You ran up pretty high on that one, and I think the institutions wanted this pullback. We started to fade here. We hit this perfect resistance, which is nice. We started to fade. I think they really wanted to come into this zone, somewhere around 585.14 to either take some gains or to build out their positions a little further. They looked like they were heading for it, and then you had the surprise news. We kind of ran up. So anybody, I think, just in a bigger term of things, we got to, let's draw a fake line up here, somewhere up here, pre-market. That's a big move going from 576 to 599, all in pretty much 1, 2, 3, and really that came overnight. So about 3 days, you moved almost 24, 25 points on the SPY if you had some of the money managers coming in here. That's a good time to take some gains. So everything that's happening, even with Trump news, tariffs on, tariffs off, tariffs good, tariffs bad, PCE flat, inflation, J pal, whatever the case is, just in terms of logically speaking, that's a lot of money somebody made or a bunch of people made, and it makes sense to take some gains, wait for some pullback. Maybe we start to look for that 585 again as some kind of support, and that would be about 618. That's roughly about the 618 from bottom to low. So that should be a very, very strong level, somewhere around that 585. For today, we are hanging into a little support. I don't know where we got to pre-market on this one. Let's take a look. Pre-markets lows got us into 585.74. That's suspicious. Okay. Maybe we already hit it. I don't know. But let's do one more thing. Let's take a look real quick at the weekly chart since this is the last day of the week. Uh, I don't know if we escalate Trump tariffs or not over the weekend. I don't know how that goes. Maybe we come to some kind of peaceful agreement. Maybe it escalates. But what I would be watching for is you have 3 bars in the middle of nowhere. You have a beautiful gap that is not has not been retested yet, or we have all-time highs sitting right up here. I don't know where this gap is going to go, but Monday's opening, if we get a gap, maybe we don't get anything, but if we get a gap, is going to be important. If we open lower, very negative for this market. That's an island reversal, and maybe we make a bigger pullback even into like the 538. That would probably come on the backs of bad news from the tariff agreements. Otherwise, if we get nothing or we actually ease something with China, or we just one tweets one day and then we tweet something else the next day, and then we open either inside or higher, that might give us the case for okay, we're probably just going to continue up from here, but we'll see. All right, so Monday's going to be important for me. Today I don't think really matters. The only thing that would really matter is if we just absolutely tank from here. I don't see that happening. We're just kind of sitting inside pretty much last week and the prior week before. So, and then also that last red candle, we closed yesterday, the week still above it, and that's right around here. So let's see if we stay above that. At least the opening price of that sell-off red candle, that's still rather bullish as well. So I don't know. For today, though, we have some levels. That 585 is going to be a huge one, and the exact price on that one is about 585.21. So we didn't quite get there, I guess, pre-market. We're off by like 50 cents. We'll see what happens. To the higher side, you're looking at some support resistance that we're hanging out pretty much to the penny on. 587.87. Bigger resistance on the way up if we do get bought up. We're still inside day candle, so it's very possible we have some buying at open. We'll see. 589.20 would be a big resistance. We start clobbering through. The next one is 590. We start getting above 590. This market looks like it wants to probably close the week fairly bullish and look for like 592.66. To the downside, if we start breaking that 585 zone, the next spot to the downside, 581.75, and then we might see some end of the month, just a little panic into this 578.82. So could be a wild day. Right now, it looks like a little bit of chop, but we'll see how this plays out. And then toward the very end of the day, when those options are expiring, we might see some moves that at least will have a deeper imprint on the weekly candle, and we'll kind of move from there. So I think relatively the gap is still bullish. I don't love that price action, so I'm kind of on the fence of which way to go from here. But how we open next week, I think, is going to be more important. We have the Qs again. That's a big, not quite bearish engulfing candle, but that you don't love to see. Really, nothing stepping in. However, even just going through this candle, well, bulls came in here, nice looking gap up. You had a little bit of a retest gap, and then you just had another retest gap, and we've retested. Again, the only thing I don't really love is I would have liked to see this close a little bit higher, somewhere around 521.14. We did close below that. We are sitting at a little tiny support here, 517.86. Otherwise, I got a much bigger support, a tad lower, 516.22. I don't have protective puts yet. No. Considering maybe if we get bought up or something like that, maybe I'll get some push just in case something escalates with China over the weekend. But also, if we get a gap down on Monday, well, now we have a pretty clear island reversal, and maybe I'm late to the game, but I could still make a lot of money on Monday with some kind of gap down. So I'm not sweating it too much. It's kind of like wait and see type thing for me because I think we're still really playing off the momentum, and I think we still have a lot of institutions on the sideline that's a little bit behind schedule as to where they should be. Bitcoin is well, we had a good support somewhere around 107,652. We talked about that as soon as we broke. We ended up flushing. We really just got into the next one, which is 105,467. We closed a tad lower than that. It's looking a little bit choppy for here. So we did open today. I don't know. It looks like a tad below that 20 EMA, so not great. Bulls are trying to fight, but the biggest level on this one, see if we can get back above. If we did it once today already, just didn't hold as of yet. But look for 105,948 as your first little key spot. If you can't get above that, you're looking short, probably to about 103,976. So for right now, probably a little bit better risk reward to the downside, unless you start clearing out this 105,948 zone. Then the bulls are hanging in, and you do have retests back into this previous support 107,526. All right, let's see what tickers we got coming in. If you guys, we're kind of light on tickers today, so let me know if you guys got anything that you guys want to take a look at. First one I see is QBTS. That's not a good open. It is a retest gap. The bull case on this one is risk to reward. That's about it. So risk to reward is probably putting some kind of stop at $14.57. It is a retest gap. Maybe this thing could get bid up at open and you do have some risk to reward. You know exactly how much you're losing. You know exactly how much you'll make. If this thing comes in for the retest, target to the higher side, $16.67. We'll have to see where this opens. I don't love the fact that we're opening below the candle for May 22nd and May 20th. So it looks rough. I would see if there's a little bit of chop on this one, maybe a high wave candle. I think I prefer it to the way down, but I could understand the bull case of at least just some risk reward of maybe buying it here just in case. So on the fence, but I'd be leaning to the bearish side if we open here. Give me a high wave candle out of the gate. If it does give me a high wave candle, we do have some room to the downside on this one, which could take us all the way back down to $13.16. So that would also give us some room to short. Prefer to short it higher, but this would give us a little bit of room to short, almost looking to close that gap. Let's see, we got MSTR. Yep, let's take a look at that one. MSTR kind of just hanging in there for now. Nothing too crazy. Bitcoin again, kind of on the fence, looking kind of small at this moment, and we'll see if we break either that support or resistance. The one nice thing is at least you had the VPOC from yesterday, so move higher. We also came in, we did retest the candle that bounced off the 50. So that was a pretty good retest of it. We're hanging out, big resistance on this one, 371.35. If we get above that, that gives us a fair shot for the bulls. If we cannot get above that, you have support at 368.66. Now a little bit lower, maybe. Let's go 368.27. If you break that down, you've already retested it, and it's probably looking a little bit more short. I got targets. I guess the next target, 361.75, we've already hit that. You might get held up again by that 50, but otherwise probably a little bit easier to take out now, and that gives us a better downside to 347.16. So that looks like we've broke the uptrend a little bit. I think a little bit more of a retest would be a little fair for this one. Double top, lower highs. I think momentum, probably a better shot to the lower side than the higher side, but let's see if we kind of break this down a little bit. Let's put this higher on the list too. PPD. Yeah, probably a lot of, I didn't even check China stocks today, but with that truth, I think they're probably all getting clobbered. Not a bad support though, so technically a little bit of a retest gap. I don't like the retest gaps where the wick came in, so that means we are trapping some bulls on this one. Plus, we're also below these 2 days, the 22nd and the 23rd. So bulls tried to step in. They didn't really have to worry until today. See if there's a quick sell-off on this one, but look for that sell-off somewhere to about $15.13. If we run into that zone, well, we are at support, and I could actually make a pretty good case that we end up fading this one. You also have some some of these bears here that just carried us through. Bears that came in here, bears that came in here, bear, bear, bear. Those guys are making money while the bulls are losing money today. So this is probably a decent support. I think this one actually looks for a fade as opposed to just breaking through and getting clobbered. Hold on, that's PD. Hold on. PPD, no, PDD. Let's go with that one. Uh, PDD is the one requested. This one looks a little bit more short. So still retest gap. You're in the middle of nowhere. You got your next target, I think 95.70. If we break through that, 94.22. I think I'd like to get taken up to 97.70 on this one for a better opportunity at a short. You're smack in the middle. So at open, probably nothing. I was wondering why the other one wasn't even on my chart. It's like I'm pretty sure I had PDD on my chart somewhere. Um, this one probably not at open, but if we end up going higher on this one, I think we have a short opportunity. If we go lower, I don't really want to. I don't want to go long on this one at 95.70, but maybe I'll take a stab at like 94.13 if we get down there. Uh, Probably nothing at open. I have to be extra patient, let the move happen first, and then I think fading that one during the day might make sense. Coin. Coin is well, we're gonna see what Bitcoin does, but obviously a pretty massive run. Good support, really, really good support on this one. 244.23, where we opening 246.93. Again, for a day trade, I don't know. I think that is a really good support that has to hold 244.23. If not, there's nothing really holding me back until probably 237.78, and you do have your 20 in the way, so maybe they'll run some interference there, but nothing else really holding us back to about 10 more dollars from where we're sitting now, pre-market. Better play on this one, and I don't know what the market's going to give us, but if we get bought up, a better spot to look to short is about 250.54. That increases your probability of at least some better risk to reward on this one. So give me some buying at open. You can run right into that. Give me some kind of reversal candle, double top around 250.54, and then I'd still have to worry about this 244.11. But if it does break, you have an extra really good trade in the books on that one. Let's see, we did MSTR, Nvidia. Nvidia. M Sky says Marvell. Yeah, they reported earnings yesterday. Nvidia is hanging out for now. It is down, still inside day. The imaginary line on my chart has worked out really, really well. It's turned into a really good resistance. We hit that twice. Nice gap above it. I the case to short this one is thinking we get through the imaginary line, and then I think you got targets to 135.62. I think the lower we go on this one, even if we break down a little bit, I think the Bulls step in. They did have really good earnings, but you have about 140.77 would be my target. That's not going to give me enough room to the higher side, so I can't really go long unless we were much lower and almost closing that gap. Maybe if we have a tight stop, and I can't really. My imaginary line's imaginary, so I can't really use that as okay. Maybe we get a tighter setup there. Um, Most likely, if we get down to 135.62, I could probably take some kind of stop at 134.29. Gives me better risk reward to the higher side. Otherwise, if we're just full bullish and this entire fade yesterday was just all just profit taking, and we start to rally, which I wouldn't be shocked if we do have some kind of weird rally today that just walks you into the weekend like, huh, okay. But yeah, for here, risk to reward, I guess, to the bull case. Your stop is at the low of the day. I'd probably have to at least put that behind the imaginary line. I just don't have a lot of room, I think, on this one. But inside day, a little choppy. You're at the lower end of yesterday, and maybe get some kind of fade on this one. HIMS, HIMS, and then we'll take a look at Marvell. HIMS is also opening into a really nice support. You do have the support of the 20. You're going to have yesterday's VPOC, so some kind of resistance today, 52.51. This leaves me to believe at open, we just sit sideways, we do nothing. Most likely, we'll see. If we end up breaking through that 20, my next target on this one is about $50.57. That might be the low for today. In a crazy world, if this thing just dies, you got 46.94-ish, a little lower, probably about 46.86. But right now, I wouldn't be I would not be shocked at all if we do see some kind of high wave candle at open on this one because it is right in between some pretty key spots. I guess the first thing to watch for is, are we lower than 52.20? That puts a little bit more pressure on the downside, I think, and that most likely takes us to that $50.57 at least. Marvell, so they reported earnings last night. Not bad earnings. I thought they were pretty good. They beat by almost a penny. So earnings per share was just blah. But there was still a beat. You still came in with 18 million more on the revenue side of things. Um, in a longer term aspect of things, I think they're growing like I think it was like 36% year over year, or something like that. Like the growth on this company has actually been fairly good. The valuation of the company, they are priced a little bit higher. They're like 25 times earnings. It's not awful. They could easily grow. If they're doing 36% year over year, they'll easily grow into that. They're probably going to need another couple quarters to really start to boost. But it is a stock that has just been depressed down in the dumps a little bit. Again, at this valuation where we're sitting, it is a tad high. It's not that you're not getting the best deal in the world, but we've run up to 127, and I can't really make a case why the company probably was even priced there. So this seems like a little exuberant buying into some of those levels. You're probably still a tad too high, but it's a reasonable price stock, I think, if the growth remains the way that it's kind of moving. For today, levels are we're opening into a little bit of support. Watch $60.71. I think we got down to like $60 yesterday, or slightly under 59.77. I threw out an order for 59 to like 78 yesterday. I just never got filled on it. But after hours, it was wonky back and forth. So nice little nice little drop on this one. Came in with a good looking hammer, hung out in that hammer for a little bit. At one point, we broke through it. Seems to be respecting this 200 on a 5 minute chart. And right now, it looks like it is probably heading, looks kind of like it's going to head fairly lower, but watch some of those supports. The first one again, $6, roughly $6.62. And then $6 is a big one, $60.14, something in that zone. So maybe some support coming in. But probably needs about 2 days and probably start trading it on Wednesday again. Let some of the market fun and earnings kind of disappear from there first. Para. Uh, Paramount Global, no real gap today, so there's not a lot of sentiment. So therefore, I got to push it to what we did yesterday. That was a fairly good breakout candle. Not even yesterday, the day before that was fantastic. So the day before that, we closed right above this one. I think you get some more momentum. I think buying this one makes sense up until the target of about $12.37. So it's only going to give you, it's a $12 stock. We could probably make it work. Would love to see a little bit of a pullback first, almost come in to retest $12.08. But no gap, nobody's getting burned at open. Probably continuation, and if there's anybody kind of selling, if the stock pulls back, $12.08 would be my first spot. Then I think you go targets or stops on this one about $12, 12.01, and then that might give you that push up to 12.37. That's about 2 hours if we get a pullback first. So we'll get this one higher on the list. I don't think maybe I day traded this once, and it was probably after an earnings or something like that. So in a natural course of this stock, I don't think I've day traded this one. I've had some swings on it before though. Unity Software. That's a very interesting gap on Unity. So obviously, good breakout candle, great volume. This looks like a 3 bar breakout play, to be honest. Really nice open for today. First level to watch is a few pennies right above us, right above this 25.08 zone. Your next target on this one, which is not too far away, 25.60, and then you have 26.06 is probably a final target maybe for today. But resting candle, I think this one, if it could pull back and retest, and it probably will since we're at that resistance, If this comes back, I would be very interested at 24.81. I'd be cautiously buying there, see what kind of sets up around that zone, and then if it breaks through, then I'm just gonna forget about that bull theory for today. Otherwise, good volume, nice little resting candle in the upper third region. This looks like you're probably gonna have a rather fun move on Unity software today. That's a nice one. Looks great for a swing. Yeah, I think it might be a decent day trade too. It's got some room on it, even to some of these higher levels. $28.30 is a fun little target on it. But and then yeah, you have lots of volume coming in like 26.95-ish. But longer term, if they get their act together, if they're start to get a little bit of momentum in it, we've been much higher on the stock before, so that could be a little bit of a fun one. Nice little double bottom longer term too. But good at least breakout yesterday. I like to see that. TJX, is that TJ Maxx? TJ Maxx is hanging out for now. You're opening into a support. If this opens and quickly breaks through, you just have your next support 126.11. Watch 126.11. If you start getting lower than that, you probably get some deeper continuations, maybe even down into like 123.88. You got your 100 sitting. Yeah, no, I'll go with targets of 124.74. That takes me into that 100 plus a decent VPOC from back here. So you have some room to the downside. I think your best bet on this one, it looks like a bear flag for now. Probably short as close as possible to 126.91 if it gives you the opportunity on that one. Let's see. CMG. I looked at CMG in a while. CMG is just looking kind of weak-ish. I think we probably continue to the downside. I don't really see too much holding us up. We got a bunch of stuff that can hold us up in here, but we've retested all that. I think your next target on this one is probably about $49.29. If we end up breaking through that, you got 48.76. Again, a little bit of a retest gap. Maybe don't be the first one to short, but if you get bids up into 49.68 or even better, 49.84. Those are the two spots I would look to go short. I think this one looks like it wants to continue a little bit further. You even have a little gap down here too. So a little bit of a gap to eventually fill, and that would take you into like 48.19. That probably doesn't happen today, but to me looks like it wants to come a little bit lower. Sound SOUN. Soundhound struggling a little bit, at least for now on the chart. That's a little double top, lower high. We haven't put in a lower low yet, kind of retesting into some of those uh, previous moving averages. If it comes a tad lower, that should be our first support. I don't know if it's a good one or not, but you got $10.30. That is the next support until you see some of those moving averages. So it comes down a little bit. Let's see if you get the reversal on this one up until about $10.70. Other than that, that is the morning bell. So unfortunately, YouTube land, I got to disconnect. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. You guys are incredible. Enjoy the weekend, and we will catch you guys on Monday.